Okay, that was Mob Psycho, Season 2, Episode 5. That might have been my favorite episode of any TV show I've ever seen. Just saw it, so obviously, like, I'm extra loving it. So who knows what I'll feel like in, like, a month. But immediately, I just want to, like, click play again and rewatch the whole thing. It felt like 45 minutes. It felt like it was a movie. Everything that I love about this show, like, culminated in this episode.
It's a really great feeling and experience in terms of watching TV, but then also talking about it afterwards. It's a really great feeling to feel at a loss for words after watching. Whenever we have an episode of something come up where I probably had my mouth open the entire thing. My cheeks hurt a little bit. I think I was smiling for 20 minutes straight. There is no better feeling than not having anything to say, because it's like nothing I can say is anywhere close to worth what that was.
I didn't write a single thing.
I didn't write anything down until after the episode was over, and it was just the 2 names that we got of characters who possibly will be reoccurring, but nothing from the actual episode.
I feel like what you were saying, I feel exactly what you were saying. I don't think anything I could say could do this justice. I don't. Sometimes in a show, there are really great moments that stand out. Like, one that comes to mind is that there was a action, without spoiling anything, if anybody hasn't seen Attack on Titan, there was an action scene with the character, and for half of a frame, you saw, like, a reflection of him in a window. And I was, like, thinking about that for the rest of the episode, and I was so excited to, like, rewatch it and talk about it. But that happened to me so many times that I lost count and lost perception of, like, all of these perfect moments in this episode.
I wasn't thinking. My brain was empty. Specifically during the fight scene, the epicness of colors and excitement and hope that I'm feeling, and I'm so impressed by Mob, and it felt similar to, like, magical girl energy, like Sailor Moon or something, how he was fighting there, where it was like this beautifully sweet and innocent and virtuous child fighting against these greater, really deep human feelings and emotions and evil with their light. And there was such a good feeling watching that. I just couldn't stop smiling.
I'm pulling up our channel to make sure I don't get it wrong. Okay, so the closest thing I've seen in terms of animation quality that I can say is Demon Slayer 2x17. I can't in good conscience right out of the say that this was better in animation quality, like, hands down.
I'd have to rewatch it.
Yes, but I don't think that it should be a competition. I don't think that I can say that it's better. But what I can say is that the perspectives, where the camera sat so many times in this episode, hit home with me so much and I loved it so much. The storyboarding and the shots and the angles, I'm at a loss for words. I loved it. I loved this episode so much, and nothing I say can do it justice. I don't know.
I'm still shocked that was truly Asagiri and who she really is, and she had a whole 6-month memory of interacting and bullying Mob.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's still insane to me, but, you know, it makes sense, because where was she, you know, inside? If this evil spirit possessed her, she's still there somewhere. So it makes sense that she was actually there when Mob was in there too, and they were able to interact in this controlled environment.
Yeah.
And
people changed, though. And it seemed like this changed her.
I almost half thought that Tsubomi would be like behind a corner and be like, good job, mob, smooth, or something.
I feel like I want to make like a shot list of like my favorite shots from this episode. Like there's so many, like composition wise, color, and
we
like,
can do that.
Like
at the end of the discussion, let's like cut it up and like pick our favorites.
It's so I'm going to be rewatching this episode today. I think even like I don't know. It's so hard for me to do anything justice. I already know that you are going to be using the picture of Mob pretty as your thumbnail. You know?
Yeah. So, did we get a definitive explanation of what is inside of Mob? Is it truly just this is his vessel and he's this intense question mark of power within the vessel, like the human vessel? Is it really just him and his spirit? I feel like that was what I started to believe at the beginning of Mogami talking, and then I was unsure again, and I feel like for some reason I'm not super figuring it out. I don't know if it's not explicit. I don't feel like.
Yeah.
His true form, and then it's a sparkly, pretty face. I'm like, does that mean that, like internal beauty, you know, you see it on the outward, like shallow Hal?
No. I think like this is his true form. Every time that we've seen Mob go 100% or question marks or whatever, I think that, you know, like how it's like sadness or what was going to be murderous intent. I think that the true form of Mob is that which doesn't have to suppress his emotions, whether they're good or bad.
That's a good way to put it.
I think that Mogami didn't know the extent of who Mob is and like how much he can feel, and how concentrated those feelings make. Because in like the line, a person's heart is made up of two sides of the same coin. We had last episode, like the quotes all about like negative emotions are much more powerful, you know, kind of thing. And this was thankfully the complete opposite side of the coin for that. And
it's a testament that negative powers are not necessarily more powerful. They are more readily available, more easy to build up and fester and become stronger. And then happy feelings and good feelings can be possibly more fleeting. You know, they're more in the moment even. And, you know, as Mogami was saying, like it's a cruel world. There is a lot of sorrow. There's a lot of negativity, and it can become very overwhelming to a lot of people. And Mob was lucky. Mob was fortunate. And Mob even says that he's fortunate that he was blessed with more than one person that cares for him. And with knowing all of him, with knowing that he is insanely powerful, with knowing that he has to suppress his emotions, who he is, and they still love him.
It's scary that after 6 months, even somebody like Mob, well, granted, he didn't have those memories, but like it's scary that he was pushed to that.
It would have felt too, like, it's already kind of like this is the chosen one with him being so powerful.
Yeah.
But I think it would have been even more so, this is the chosen person, if he was able to completely resist
I
the
agree.
6 months.
Because at the end of the day, he's only human.
He's only human, and he has intense and real emotions, and he has the whole spectrum of them. And I think that if they had kind of not had that happen and not had him relinquish himself to negative emotions there, it wouldn't have been true to what's going on inside of him and the fact that he's a real person.
Yeah.
Real person. A real animated person.
Okay. One of the best like lines, just hands down, in the series for me is just as happiness shines in the shadows of sorrow, only in the darkest depths of fear does courage truly shine. Oh my God.
That's what's inside Mob. A courageous heart.
I don't know how you do it. I'm just so I'm very grateful and happy that something like this show and this episode exists.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy feeling now that I feel like my questions in terms of dark passenger, or is there something deep residing within him that's truly evil, like an evil spirit? I'm glad to have any sort of notion of that kind of squashed after this episode.
Yeah, it really feels like he like in the flashback with Ritsu, he retaliated for Ritsu and for protecting them, just to something he couldn't control. And it's just trying to control those emotions that, you know.
And now I feel like with this kind of revelation of truly what is the power of Shigeo, it gives me the hope that with practice and nurturing and time accepting himself and changes within himself, it is possible that he can harness those extreme emotions without being overrun by them in the future.
Yeah. What a cool,
the explosion that you have pulled up on the screen was one of my favorite, animation portions.
What a cool set to, have a fight. I'm just at a loss for words. I don't know. The whole scene of, I guess, Mob, shedding the vessel.
Shedding is a good way to put it.
We haven't seen, the question marks, right?
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen that since episode, 5?
Yeah. I think what's important to note is the color
7.
change. It goes from black to, I believe, white after. Almost like he centered himself, you know? And it doesn't feel as menacing or intimidating or scary. I didn't feel like anytime we've seen the question mark, and the kind of black face of his in the past, it's felt scary. It's felt like we were Ritsu as a kid being like, oh my God, what is that?
Yeah.
And it didn't feel so scary to me in this end of this episode.
Look at so I'm just going to go frame by frame here, right? You have him in the black silhouette, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's the line strikes through, you can see light, and then it splits him in half.
Yeah.
And you can see his outline in white. And then it forms seemingly his silhouette in white, more true to form.
That's what's in, and what is the dialogue that is directly kind of ending on that note is that's what's inside.
Yeah.
Is this pure kind of person that has emotions like anyone else. It just happens that their emotions can have a really strong effect on the physical world.
Oh my gosh. I'm just there's not enough time and not enough brain capacity for myself to be able to talk about everything that I liked in this episode right now. There isn't. I'm
sure we'll have more to say when we come back to this table.
Right before there was a great fight scene, easy, great, amazing, love it. How can you not? I'm sure everybody in the world who's ever watched the show says that, and I'm sure they've also said what I'm about to say, but the minute or two leading up to the mid-roll was absolute perfection. From dialogue, from what Mob was saying, how he was truly blessed and he needed to be more thankful of the people around him once he got back to the real world. And then more than anything, just the visuals and the framing, the composition and everything. There's a shot that you could see him through, what's his name? The Mogami. Through Mob's hand that was absolutely beautiful. And then there was this sweeping shot with the cat in the background before the mid-roll.
The eyes, right?
The eyes. I am just astounded. I am such a fanboy. I feel so...
This show...
I feel like such a simp.
This show feels like one episode took a year.
Yeah.
That's how it feels. It feels like just one
God.
episode took forever with one person's hand. It never feels disconnected, like multiple people are working on it, which I'm sure that's how it works, that multiple people work on these. But it's so just pure, and the artistry is amazing. So creative.
I don't know, man. I don't know what else to say. Do you have anything to say? I'm trying to collect some thoughts.
I feel like I'm gonna have possibly some stuff to say when we reconvene after the dust settles from this episode. Other than being amazed.
If this show was drawn and animated to this quality in like the 90s, and they were animation cells up for sale on eBay, I would pay, if I had it, obscene amounts of money.
I bet it would be put at an obscene amount of money that you'd have to pay. Because I mean, like, there would also probably be an infinite amount of material that people could be happy to buy.
Yeah.
If this was the case. There
was like I think it was episode 8. I'm just so sorry. I'm usually better about this stuff, but like I'm so like, caught off guard. There was like we had talked about the fight scene in the alleyway and how you could pause it on any frame and it looked like a masterpiece. Mm-hmm. This was that like stretched out and like focused on and like distilled and better. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. It was the color. I can't say. I just feel like I'm rambling now and I'm sorry, but I love this episode of Mob Psycho.
We are truly blessed to be watching this show, honestly.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we're going to talk about this episode more in depth in the intro of next episode too, about the actual dialogue and themes that happen too. I'm just like kind of dumbfounded right now. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time. I think that, you know, like how it's like sadness or what was going to be murderous intent. I think that, you know, like how it's like sadness or what was going to be murderous intent. Sadness or what was going to be murderous intent.
Sadness or what was going to be murderous intent.